Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another special edition. They're all special editions, but another special edition of Spec Talk. Today, we are going to be talking and recapping about everything that's happened within Spec Talk over the last 12 months, and it is our special year-end review. Um, Next slide, please, Alex. With you, as always, today is Alex Bear. I'm going to get your name right this week. Last week, I messed up Eric's name. Alex Bear is a legend and a strategic account executive here at RIB. I'm Dory Azar. I'm a licensed architect and a senior strategic sales specialist at RIB. And today's guest, and we're going to get back to Alex in a second, but we have another Alex on with us today, Alex Fulton, who's a training
Hello.
specialist at RIB as well. He is the one in the Santa Claus hat. If you need to distinguish between the Alexes today, Fulton has the Santa Claus hat. Bear has the. Can you show us your sweater, Alex? What are we dealing with today?
Absolutely.
It's a festive shark. Beautiful, absolutely
I
beautiful.
gotta love a festive shark.
We're gonna
And
have a
also,
little
if
bit of
you
fun today, guys.
if you mix up names today, then no one will even tell the difference.
I'll even respond
That's
to
true.
Alex, if we have to, just to keep it. So today is our last spec talk of the year, so we're gonna keep it loose and have a little bit of fun as we move forward today. So next slide, please, Alex. So, as always, we are opening up our contest to everybody who's here today. So, if you have a project that you've specified using SpecLink and want to submit it for a prize, uh, you will win not only the admiration of everybody else that's on the air with you today, but also a few special prizes that we have set aside for you that will be mailed out directly to you. In the materials section of the GoToWebinar today, you'll find all the information that you need to make that submission. So we hope to get a lot of submissions. Make this hard on us. Send us your really cool projects. So we have some tough decisions to make. But yes, those prizes are available to you as well. Next slide, please, because I think we're going to talk about the last winner. Yes,
hmm
this beautiful submission from Dake Wells Architecture. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Beautiful building here, located in Lawrence, Kansas. Thank you for submitting, and your prizes will be on their way as soon as possible. Maybe even today. I don't know. We'll try to get it out before Christmas.
Never
Next
know.
slide, please. Or now, anytime. So let's dive in. So, Alex, Mr. Fulton, before we go too far into the things, why don't you why don't you tell the viewers today a little bit about you, what you do here, what your role is, and then we'll dive in because we are talking today about lists. So we're going to go over the top 10 list of the uh, updated features across 2024, but we're also going to have a little fun with the top 5 most used sections and the top 5 most used divisions. And I'm going to be asking you guys which ones you think number one is. So start to think right now, what is the number one section and the top section and top division that were used in SpecLink in 2024? But Alex Fulton, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, hello, all of the viewers today. I'm sure a few of them on here would recognize my voice a little bit because I am a training specialist here. I've been here for about a little over 2 years now, and I am one of the people running the SpecLink Cloud Essentials webinar and the SpecLink Cloud New User webinar, as well as the Spec Live Impact webinar. So the monthly webinars that we run, I'm the one running those for the most part. Occasionally, Gary steps in depending on how our actual training schedule works out. So this is the face that goes with that voice that you hear in on either those live or on demand ones, depending on how you're doing it. I've got a little bit of history and training and making sure people know what they need to know, and I've loved my time here and how I've specialized in just effectively two softwares and getting to know them as well as I could. So I'm very happy to be here and sharing a little bit more with you guys today.
So now that they recognize the face, does the face always wear a Santa Claus hat, or is that just like a special one-off?
This is hair. Oh yeah,
That's
this is one off for
amazing.
the end of the year.
All right, all right. So before we get going, if we have any viewers today who are not current SpecLink users, you are more than welcome to reach out to Alex Bear or I if you would like a demo or learn a little bit more about getting into using SpecLink. And if you're a current SpecLink user and looking to add more seats or upgrade where you're at right now, you can also reach out to Alex and I if you want to sneak in before the end of the year and capitalize on a couple of December savings that we've got going on. So I wanted to get that out there for you as well. So I can't wait to get into these lists here, Alex's. So why don't we jump to the next slide and get started?
Absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. So, Mr. Fulton, why don't you explain to us what has happened to the content in the last 12 months?
So the content, our content team, they're always working behind the scenes doing so many things for our database and all that RIB content between the upgrade, the text updates, the reference standard updates, which that alone is just a huge project because there's nearly 3,000 of those things to keep up to date. Yeah, reference standards, manufacturer info, it's kind of crazy what they take their time to do. I think we're at a, 1,255 I think it's around there. If I'm doing the math right, at least they're 1,260 maybe now. 1250. Either way, but we see our count here on the screen of we have 933 core sections and 317 proprietary sections. That is up from last year by 23 new core sections and I think about 100 new proprietary sections because we were just over 200 last year and we're 317 now. So they've done a lot of work with a lot of great manufacturers to, hopefully save you guys some time when you're using those specs.
Fantastic. Yeah, those are pretty good increases. Like that's a lot of
Hmm.
value that's being pumped back into the software
Oh yeah.
that users get to benefit from.
Oh, one of the
Awesome.
things I hear all the time about trainings is the fact that people are ecstatic that they don't have to manage as many reference standards anymore. I say
That
as many
that's
because those super specific local ones we can't do all of them, but we get
Right.
almost all the national ones.
Yeah, fantastic. Top use sections. Everybody, now is your chance to guess what you think is the top used section and top used division is. We've got some answers coming in now, but I
Oh,
want
I
to
love
I
to
want to
see
know
these.
everybody how dialed into your specs are you? We've even okay, excellent. We're getting even specific sections. This is excellent. Marjorie's, Eric. Okay, keep them coming in, guys. Alex, why don't you get through the top four and then we'll
Sure.
summarize.
All
Yeah,
right.
there's some
So
really good guesses coming in.
we'll just go straight through them, and then we'll do the big reveal to number one. So the fifth most used section is actually demolition. So in Division Two. Number four, we have coming in at resilient flooring. So resilient flooring, Division 8. We've also got rough carpentry for number three, which is not surprising that that would be in there,
Mhm.
in my opinion. At number two, we have gypsum
Yeah,
board assembly. So
that
Division
makes
9.
I have drumsticks here if we need a drum roll or anything like that for the final answer, but they'd be like air drums. So
Mhm.
the guesses we've got for the top use section. Let's see it, Alex. What do we got?
Number one, joint sealants, Division
Oh,
7.
joint
Ooh,
sealants. Guess what? Marjorie nailed it.
all
Marjorie
right.
guessed joint sealants. That
Yep,
is
she got it spot
impressive.
on.
Impressive. Marjorie, I know how active you are on all these spec talks, and uh, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. So that was a fantastic, very educated guess, I'm sure.
I'm
Um,
wondering if Marjorie was on last year's webinar that I ran for the year in review, because believe it or not, these top sections, the top three are the same as they were last year.
Hmm.
Last year, number four was hollow metal doors, number five was resilient flooring. So we had a little bit of a mix up there. But yeah, maybe Marjorie had took some notes and made sure she was ready for today.
Excellent, you guys. So let's jump into most used divisions now. And again, I'm going to be asking for the most used divisions also for number one, the number one guess. So Alex, let's get through the top four and
Sure.
see how those. Miss Fulton, you can tell us how they compare to last year's as well.
All right, guys, let's give it a go. So at number
All right.
five, we've got Division 23 heating HVAC. Number four, we have Division 8 openings. Number three,
All right.
Division 9 finishes. Number two, Division
The
26
trusses.
electrical. I feel like I'm playing a
It's
game of
interesting to
Keno
see.
here.
it's interesting to
Where's she
like
gonna fall
make
in?
note of the MEP. Like two of the top five at least are MEP. This is interesting. So let's see. So for the we're getting a few different answers here. So I'm gonna give a drum roll for the most used division in SpecLink in 2024 is
Yeah. Number Division
Oh,
7 thermal and moisture
Division
detection.
7. So who got Division 7? Well, Haley, you made two guesses, but we'll give you the first one because that's the one you got right. So
That was the
good
first one
job.
she guessed anyway.
That was the first one. Yep, have faith in your decisions, Haley. This is fantastic.
These could be good Powerball numbers. You never know.
Somebody screenshot this and go play. Mr. Fulton, how do these compare to last year's? Do you remember?
Yeah, actually, these are almost the same. The only difference is Division 4 and 5 have swapped places.
Four
Openings
and
was
five.
5 last year, and heating, ventilating, and air conditioning was 4. So they,
Oh,
yeah, seems like people are know what they want when they're using they're using the divisions.
people love their doors and their projects. They just can't get enough of those openings. Let's move on here because we've got I've got this feeling the next part of this episode is going to bring up a lot of questions, a lot of fun conversation. I'm really hoping that this top 10 list that we're going to get into is going to maybe expose some of the viewers to new features that they may have missed or just didn't get a chance to catch the update on. So let's dive into the top 10 features that were released in SpecLink in 2024.
Cool.
And I also want to throw a quick asterisk on this top 10 list as well, because this is 10 of a lot of different features that we have released this year. And this top 10 list is in no particular order and also just mostly opinion based. So if somebody out there has an opinion of a different number one, then that can absolutely still be your number one. We're not trying to take that from you.
Yeah, this is not arbitrary list, but it's yeah, it's handpicked.
Okay. So
All
someone
right.
had some judgment in this. Okay. So let's go. So let's go ahead and start with number 10, and that is expanding the collaboration feature. So Alex, do you want to go ahead and kind of chat on that, and we'll kind of work our way through. I know that we.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
This one was something that we've been working forward to, or I guess working towards for a little bit. But the expanding that collaboration feature for a long time, there were collaboration credits for anybody who had collaboration activated on their accounts,
Mhm.
and they decided, as everything went through last year, they said, you know what, let's just get rid of the collaboration credits overall. Let's not put any kind of limit on the way people can collaborate together.
Mhm.
Let's just make it unlimited. So and now everybody who has access to collaboration or has that on their account, it is unlimited access. You have all the infinite credits, so effectively you could say, but there's no limits on what you can do when you're collaborating with others.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, were people running out of credits? Was it becoming a thing that they needed more? The collaboration feature was sort of getting more
It,
popular, and
it was getting very popular. So I'll actually share to show you the way that we can collaborate, the two options that we usually
oh,
use.
yes,
Um,
please.
because the two collaboration features that we utilize are sharing and sending. Those are the two main ones that we use. And so if
Mhm.
I've got my project here, my Atlanta Supermall, and I open this up, we've got our share and send options right here. Now, sending, that's one that a lot of people use when they need a like almost a secondary hard copy sent over. That's effectively the equivalent of attaching it to an email and emailing it off to somebody.
Okay.
You don't have
Sure.
any say in what they do once they get it. Same thing with this. You send them the entire project. They have everything as is, and they just have it now. And you have your copy, they have their copy, and you can work together in that way. But the one that we see so many people utilizing now is the share feature. So when you open up the share feature, you can put in people's email addresses. You can tell how much of the project they're able to access, whether it's the entire thing, specific sections. You can tell them whether they're even allowed to make edits, comment, view, what kind of view they have. But when you
Mm.
actually share it this way, both people or both ends effectively are utilizing the same project. So I can see your edits and then you can see my edits and I can see your comments and vice versa. So this creates a much better environment for if you have a lot of hands in the pot. And one thing that I know this comes up all the time when we're talking about collaborating is the difference. One of the biggest difference between the two is when you're sending, obviously, since you're sending a SpecLink Cloud project, whoever is receiving it needs to have SpecLink Cloud in order to view that project. With share, the other person who you're sending to doesn't need to have a SpecLink Cloud account in order to share with them. are some limitations. They won't be able to make any edits, and they won't be able to view inactive sections and things like that. But they'll still be able to view it. They'll still be able to make comments, and they'll still be able to still work with you in some sense with effectively a guest account, which we call contributors. And you can see right there, unlimited credits. There's the new update there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And what scenario are you finding that people are like, is this maybe architects sharing specs with owners where they might want to have a sort of jump in and chime in on what they're seeing in the spec without being able to change it themselves? Is that kind of the most popular use here?
Yeah, that's one I see all the time. Or potentially you'll share it with a specialist on a specific division. Like you can be calling in somebody saying, "Oh yeah, I need to make sure that I bring in my metal division expert," and you can actually just limit it and say, "I they only get to look at the metal division," and save
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
that. Share it. They don't even need to worry about the rest of it. So bringing in
Yeah. So it's
architects,
just
engineers, all sorts of different experts on certain things.
Everything gets
added level of
documented.
control.
So
hmm
Excellent. I bet you we could spend 60 minutes talking about each feature on this list.
When it comes to collaboration, that could be a spec doc in itself.
Yeah. Let's and if we got time at the end, maybe we'll circle back to some of the more popular ones. So if anybody here wants a little more information as we're moving through, keep track of what feature it is, and if we have time, we'll bounce back. But let's get down to. Are we counting down from 10?
I think we are.
All right. Let's get to
yeah,
number
let's
nine
go
then.
to it. Okay. So number 9 comes in at simultaneously creating multiple links. So I know that one's a big one. I'll let you speak to it, Alex, but uh, I know a lot of users wanted that. So,
Yes,
when
that
you're
has been something that
linking,
has
you
been
don't want
asked
to
for a
think
while.
about any sort of restrictions and your creativity and your automation and magic there.
Oh yeah, the automation process is huge. And for anybody who has built their own links, they know how frustrating it was doing one link at a time over and over and over. But now, and in case anybody ooh, that's for later. Now, if in case anybody doesn't have a specific, if anyone hasn't made a link since these changes, now when you open up the links panel over here, and you say create a new link. So I'll make one for related requirements as our example. When you're adding a new link, you can now drag. So we're going to say related requirements relates to submittals. I know it doesn't, but we're just pretending. Um, so I can actually drag up to 10 different sequence numbers at the same time in here to make it so related requirements will link to all of them at the same time instead of doing one at a time, save, find the next one, save. And actually, in the most recent release of that just came out, which you can see at the top here,
Hmm.
um, we have added this little plus icon, which you can click and you can actually type in the sequence number you're looking for as well, instead of having to
Ah,
scroll down to each spot. So it makes the whole linking process a lot smoother and a lot faster when you're trying to link one thing to a lot of things all at the same time.
yeah, because that's a pretty common thing to have multiple. I'm sure that originated from user feedback, and to have
hmm
multiple that drag and drop thing is just, it's not just the little bit of time that it shaves off, but it's the efficiency, right? And the you're not like, oh, drag it in, save, new one, blah. Like those are minor amounts of time, but they add up, and they
hmm
can lead to some frustration sometimes. So the quick
Yeah,
drag and drop is beautiful. Oh,
it's
that's
one
Yeah,
of
you
the
don't want to lose
biggest
your momentum
reasons people.
either. So
It's one of the biggest reasons people come to SpecLink Cloud is to how much it can save them time with the automation and
Mhm.
everything. So the more we can shave off those seconds, the better.
And how about that fact that we're listening? User feedback, implementing these changes, getting them out as fast as possible so people are generating their specs uh, a little faster.
hmm
Mr. Bear, let's jump down to number 8. I feel like I should have. This is where I want the sound effects, Alex. I would press like a little drum roll button, or something. I think this is. I'll
see
just wave my
here.
drumsticks in the air, and maybe that'll.
Okay, so number 8, we've got print menu access. So this is
Oh
one that
yeah,
I was very excited to see, but Alex, go ahead and tell us about it.
this is one that, like you said, Dory, so many of the ones, especially from this top 10 list, are coming directly from user feedback. It's actually something I
Right.
mention on my trainings all the time is, hey, so just so you know, here's the release notes section and here's a bunch of new things. Well, you guys are new, so you don't need to worry about it. But as you're using all of this stuff, let us know if you see features or certain even quality of life
Mhm.
adjustments that you want, because most of the things in the release notes and most of these things we release, they come from the users.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys are in it every single day when you're using it, so you get to find those spots that can make your lives even easier, and we try to take advantage and make sure that they are make sure they're coming out. But with print menu access, this is one that the headache, and I'll show you the process before, the headache and the amount of times that I've heard people ask for it, where you would have to open up a project, go all the way into a section, and then once you have a section open, then you can access the print menu. But now, and this is one that actually just came out last weekend, is you can come to from the main dashboard, you can click on this and we have print project right here at the bottom. So you can access the print menu right from there,
Mhm.
or if you're actually in your project doing the work, activating different sections, divisions, things like that, there is a new quick access toolbar menu option, and it is that print icon right there as well. So you can do
Beautiful.
all your printing from directly from that. So
Excellent.
that access is something people have been asking for, and the fact that you can do that without having to dive directly into a section, getting everything loaded up first.
Yeah.
Once again, it's another
Yeah.
time-saving one that people were looking for.
Well, and again, it eliminates a little frustrating thing of like, I don't know, just open a section. It doesn't even matter what section. I just need to print, right? So
Hmm.
now just
Right.
having that print option, I like that it's at two levels, right? It's within the project, but it's also even outside the project, like the project list when you log in.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you knew you
So
had to jump in and PDF a project, you don't have to get deep into SpecLink to do it. It's just
yeah,
right there when you log in.
yeah, immediate login right from the dashboard. Oh, quick print, done. And it's not even the
Fantastic.
entire project. If you say, oh, I just need that section really quick, you
Hmm.
can just go and find it. That was a little spoiler for what's coming up, I think, next. I'll let Alex take
Hide the
over.
screen, minimize. I would love to hear from viewers that are on with us today too. If you knew these features, or if you're new to them, or you're learning seeing them for the first time. So let's jump to number 7 while we load up some comments here. Alex, go for it.
All right, drum roll here. And number 7, we've got select multiple division sections for print export.
I think
Yes,
we just
this
saw a
is another
teaser on
one
that. Yeah.
directly from the users. So this is one that, as you just kind of saw, I gave you a little teaser, but I'll get into it directly from here. Is as of before, you had to open up each. If you're trying to print off maybe 5 different sections, that would involve opening up the print menu, going to section, finding that section, hitting print or export, hitting print or export 5 separate times whenever you do it. But now I can open up this list and I can scroll through here and just check whatever is already active in the project. And there's the 4 I need, and I can export from there. And you can do this same thing, not just with the section, but you can do it with the divisions. So if you want to print specific divisions, and it doesn't really work for project because the project's everything already, so there's nothing you need to check off. But along the same lines, this feature is not something that works for document drafts, but sheet specs, and this is almost an honorable mention when it comes to something that has come out that people have been asking for. The scope of report used to be just project and division for sheet specs. You can now do a sheet spec for specific sections as well. Same process, opening it up and hitting the different checkboxes to say, I need just
Nice.
those 3 and we're good to go.
It's it's full
Good.
control from wherever you are. That's those are those things that are just increasing efficiency.
Hmm.
100%.
Excellent. Um, I could honestly printing because there are some softwares that exist in the world, not SpecLink. So I'm just talking about that make printing and exporting unnecessarily complicated for something that's like such a critical thing that you need to do with this information. So
Yeah.
kudos to the team for baking that in. Alex Bear, let's get down to the next one here and see what we're looking at.
So number 6, print individual sections in outline view. Oh, I know that's a good one.
Yeah.
I know
This is, I
that's
guess,
important.
keeping on the printing theme. Um,
Hmm.
we that printing individual sections and outline view. This, believe it or not, as you mentioned, Dory, and how fast we can get out so many of these things that users are requesting, that users want to see, and all these quality of life improvements.
Mhm.
there are certain things that baked deep into the code are very hard to do. And printing individual sections in outline view is absolutely one of them. And but this has been something that users have wanted and that users have been requesting. And this actually dates back all the way to before SpecLink Cloud. This is something people wanted from
Oh,
SpecLink
wow.
E.
Okay.
So now when you open up that print menu, you can actually select, you can have sections in, and let me get it shared so you can see it. You can open up a specific section, and you can set it to outline view right up here at the top.
Hmm.
There's not really too much activated in here, but I'll open up my view column so you can see it's all outline. And I
Hmm.
can go to that print menu and I can still print this section. If you wanted to print outline view only before, it had to be division or project. And from everyone who has stuck with us since SpecLink E, this is just call it a day off. We're done. This is amazing. They can do so much more now.
That's
The
awesome.
amount of times I've heard from people that they have had to export entire divisions just for a specific section and then break it off in some other software somehow. Uh, it's a frustrating process that we were able to finally dig deep into and get that out for everyone who wanted it.
I love that. I love that. A couple of comments that are coming in. Faith has said, "I've been waiting for a lot, all caps, of these for quite some time. So thank you so much." So you're welcome, Faith. I love to see the gratitude there. And Eric is giving some credit to the advisory board as well, who brings up a lot of the
Hmm.
uh, ideas and suggestions to help improve the product as well. So yes, there's no shortage of you guys aren't shy about sharing your ideas if if nothing else. So it's a good thing. Love the feedback. We're listening, and like Alex said, it's always like sometimes it's buried deep in code, right? It's not a matter of pressing a button and updating the whole thing, but
Yeah,
it's on the radars for sure.
yeah. From our point of view, half the time it's like, oh, why can't they just make it do that? Surely it's no
Right.
big deal. It's easy. Well,
Yeah. How hard could
we're
it
not the
be?
ones doing
Just
it. So famous last words, Dory.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, Marjorie just made a comment there that we'll for next year's suggestion. So we'll get to that. We'll read some of those towards the end here. What do we got next, Alex?
All right. Let's see here. Share my screen again. And at number 5, we have
Hmm.
comment mode and view mode. Oh yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Alex. I know that's a good one too.
This one when this came out, I was even personally a little bit blown away with how well it was functioning, and also how we didn't already have it. Like as soon as I saw it, I was just, this makes so much sense. So, and this kind of works hand in hand with how collaboration was earlier. So if you have a project that either you have shared with some external sources, you got some collaborators in there working on different sections with you, or even you have a big project, like for example, I have a test one of Atlanta Supermall here. So a Supermall seems like a pretty big thing. So we might have multiple team members working on this spec at a time, which also means that we might have the dreaded, and I'm going to open it up, lock icon appear. So this is when somebody else is in this section. And for the longest time, it was one person only allowed in a section. Once it was locked, I can't get in. And the worst case scenario is when it's locked and somebody says, oh, well, I'm actually cutting out early for the day, and they forget to close down the section or log out properly. You have to go find the person with the permissions to make sure they can unlock the sections in use, kick them out. But now, with the comment mode and view mode, even though this is locked, I can open this up and I get this little pop-up right here at the bottom, comment mode enabled, and it tells me who it's locked by, and I can actually scroll through here and you can see the toolbar at the top, very pared down because I'm not actually allowed to make any edits, but I can scroll down, I can still view this section, I can still look at everything in it, and live to the other user who is in this section, I can say, hey, make a quick comment. Are you sure we should be doing this? As soon as the keyboard catches up.
Yep.
There we go. And I
There
can
it is.
say that, and I can hit comment, and that comment, it will show up to them live. So they'll see in real time the comments popping up, and they'll get little notification pop-ups at the top. So they'll see this little icon here. But I'll talk about the little commenting things a little bit more later. But they can see these comments, and so even though you have one person in a section, if you're not working in the same, if you're working in the same office, that's one thing because I can walk over, stand behind you, and we can talk about it together. But otherwise, if I'm somewhere else working from home, working across the country, I would have to wait until you leave the section to go in and take a look at your comments, then leave and wait for you to go back in. And it's just a whole process that way. But now we can sit there and effectively look at the same thing and work together and actually get some stuff done.
Very cool. So yeah, it's no longer it's removing a roadblock. This
Absolutely.
whole feature, which is everything is in the spirit of continuing to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, Alex.
And
Let's get to
we
that.
also have this fun button here now of unlock and edit where it tells you, hey, do you want to kick them out? And it's like, yes, I do. And
Yes,
you
I
can,
do.
you can kick them right out of there and start doing your start making your edits for yourself.
Can I give him a little punch in the arm too for locking me out?
Yeah, we need a
Guys, we're getting
big POW
closer,
symbol to appear here.
like a Batman POW, like the old version there.
But that one could
As
be
we're getting,
good if somebody goes to lunch and they forget to log out of the section, right, Alex? So
Yeah,
that's
POW.
yeah, well,
good. Feature's good.
maybe those are like SpecLink plugins or something. I'm not sure everybody would want that in their subscription, but maybe you'd have to like voluntarily opt in for those. We are getting predictions now for what is going to be in the top 3. So if anybody's got a guess of what is left, what you think is going to be in there, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'll read the comment out loud if it's a good comment, and we'll go from there. So we are just past the halfway point of our episode today, and I think we're going good. So if any questions or comments, bring them in. I think we're gonna have time at the end here to chat more. So Alex, go ahead.
All right, so we've got one more until we get to the top 3. The number 4th feature is project filters.
Project filters.
Oh, project filters. Now, this is there's so many people who are relatively new to SpecLink, or so many people who have only used SpecLink for a few projects here and there. And this isn't something that they were looking for, but for those power users, those people who have been using SpecLink for a long time and they have hundreds of different projects in their list, the amount of times people have been wanting to be able to filter this down in a better way without having to search for specific things to go to find their lists. All we have those tools added over here now. And I did actually see Marjorie's comment. So before I go talk about the filters, I will give the honorable mention. This bright yellow bar at the top, this is a call to communication banner. It's so that you know about downtime, releases, things like that. This is something that did come out this year as well to make sure we can tell users things that are going on that are really important. But yes, this communication banner, that's an honorable mention, but we do have that little X here so we can get rid of that. Don't need to have the bright yellow bar the entire time we're doing this. But anyway, back to the filters. So I've got my list of projects here. Now this is a nice one. I've only got 7, but if I had like 100 or so projects, I'm like, I need to go look at only my projects. We can open up this filter list. We can say, I just want to see my projects. And I just hit apply, and that way it'll only show the projects that I am the admin for. Or if I wanted to say, unselect all. If I wanted to say, I don't care who the admin is, but I need to know what projects that we're doing in Atlanta, Georgia. I only can see those ones. Yeah, it happens to be the same project in this instance. Other things that we can do with it, we've got our project locations. We've got, I closed it. Project locations, we have projects type. So you can see if you want to do the commercial or mercantile, education, scientific, mixed use, you can filter by those types of projects. You can filter by different work type, whether it's new construction, furniture, furnishing equipment, remodeling. You can filter by the floor area or even filter by the budget. Let's just look at our huge budget projects. Let's see what we've got for our big budget projects. And it is Diana's house with the ID of Mansion 01. So that's our big budget project right there.
That sounds like a super mall budget, though. 500 million,
No, this is just a
Sounds like
single house, apparently.
and just to be clear on the filtering, we can stack and layer the filters, right? So you can pick the
Absolutely.
location and typical filtering.
Mhm. And then you just hit
Very cool.
apply, it'll head on up there. And then at any point you say, okay, I need to see everything again. A quick reset brings it all back.
That could be especially useful for the project type, right? So if it's commercial or hospitality or, you know, um, whatever have you, it's a good way to, browse templates or potential templates for your current project. So
Absolutely.
all
Or
good
if you're looking
stuff.
for the new construction versus just the HVAC type projects,
Right.
Hmm.
filtering them that way could be really, really beneficial to having everything there. Either whether you're
Excellent.
referencing old projects or you just need to see all the stuff at once.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Alex, let's get to the next one on our list here because I
All right,
think
we're to the top
yeah,
three here.
We
Let's
are
go
in the top
ahead.
top
three.
three. Feel like we should
We
we should have music here. This is
we need
celebratory
music.
now.
All right. Well, without further ado, number three, we're gonna go ahead and come in at the document map.
Oh,
This is a
There
this
good
is
it
one.
one I saw
is.
people
Oh man.
predict.
Yep.
I think
It's
I
one of
think
my
I've
personal
remembered.
favorites too. Like the scrolling has calmed down significantly since the document map has been
Hmm.
introduced.
I think this is one that I remember you bringing up in. I think I remember you bringing it up in another one of your spec talks where it came up and you guys were excited about the document map.
Yeah, it's some of these sections get so long, right? There's a lot of
Oh,
content in there, and
there's
it's not
so
just the
many huge
scrolling,
sections.
and it's not just the scrolling. It's the specific like if I'm looking for, you know, submittals or something like just to be able to jump right to it is just a little more accuracy than it was before.
Absolutely. And so for some of those longer sections, instead of all the scrolling and scrolling, and now this is for anybody who hasn't actually been able to take advantage of this document map yet, over in our document manager tab here on the right, you can open it up. We have our choices, global terms, reference standards, and this new button that is just so nice. As we open this up, this document map will give you all of your main headings. So I want to jump down to defrost systems. I can shoot all the way down there. It'll put me right at the top of the screen instead of having to scroll 200 paragraphs worth of time. And now even this one, if I here, let me help to end the section. Even this one's only 316 paragraphs. We have some in here that hit into 4 digits,
Hmm.
and those ones just without a document map, that
Oh my
was really
gosh.
wearing out some scroll wheels.
Yeah, like a painting
So
spec, I can imagine would be huge.
Oh yeah.
so
So
on this note, and I'm gonna rely on you as the expert on this one. But if you add your own paragraph or your own information, it will automatically show up in document map if it's inserted the right way. How does that work if somebody's modifying the content of the
it
section?
absolutely will. So over here, for example, I'll use the swinging metal doors. So we
Hmm.
see swinging metal doors over here. If I want to just say instead of swinging, I'm going to say sliding. And sliding's right above it. So let's go. What's a different word to use instead of swinging or sliding?
Mm,
Pivot?
Pivot doors, sure. Pivot metal doors.
Sure.
gliding.
Oh, gliding would have been good. But you can see as I type pivot in over here, already in the document map, it's showing pivot metal doors.
Hmm.
And the same thing will happen if I hit enter to put a new line in the same spot. New line for SpecTalk.
I would have gone with gliding,
Yeah,
but
Oh yeah,
give me the satisfaction here, come on, Alex.
yeah. New line for SpecTalk. Gliding.
Yes, thank you. It doesn't have to make sense.
is it going to fit
Yeah.
in the document map?
It did
That's
fit in the
easy.
document map. New line
All right.
for SpecTalk gliding. It appeared right away.
Gliding, wonderful.
And you can see, ooh, that we found what looks to be hitting the character limit for what we can do. Let's see how long this one is. High performance door requirement. So you can get about halfway through the word requirement before you hit your character limit for what you can see over in the document map.
Can we change the width of the document map? Can you grab the edge of it and make it wider?
You cannot.
Okay, so there is a limit on what will
Yeah.
be shown there.
Yeah, but we do have additional tools right up here at the top. Now, this first, next, last, and all of these tools, these used to be on our toolbar here at the top, but they've been moved to the document map, which will just move you from the matching level. So if I am on a level 3 paragraph here and I click next, it'll take the cursor to the next level 3 paragraph and then the next level 3 paragraph and so on and so forth. So that is another way to be able to move through a document. So for as you're moving through, because this is all your level 1s and your level 2s, But if you
Mhm.
have a really long level 2 section and you want to be able to move through it, you can keep this open and you can still hit move to next and jump from those ABCs instead of the 1.01s, 1.02s.
Alex, let's take a look at the comment that Julie just made, um, saying the document map is my favorite. Yes, it's such a great feature. Um, it would be loved even more if the document manager could be docked, so it didn't have to be clicked open for each section. Is there a solution
Ooh,
to that or a way to do that, or is that did that just get put on our list for Q1
I
2025?
think that might end up just as one of the like top 10 for next year potentially,
Okay.
because yes, as of right now, any if you have to go into a new section now, I'll click over to show what hopefully Julie wants to see. We did say
We'll
that was
call it the
Julie, right?
Julie rule. When it gets
The Julie rule.
Julie
See,
rule.
if I
Yep.
click
When it
over
gets
like this, you can see it does remain open, Julie. So if you want to start moving between your sections using this section list, you'll be able to see it kind of remain
ah.
there. But what Julie is mentioning is if you end up going back to this, the sections list here, and try opening one up, you're going to have to reopen the document manager and re-click on document map each time.
But that is the quicker way to stay within the section here to
Oh
jump to
yeah,
another section
yeah. You
because
can
it's
drop
it's
this
just it's
down,
less
filter
clicks.
by your active sections only, and decide, oh yeah, I want to pop over here. Oh, comment mode enabled. So this, I think the comment mode enabled might have thrown off the document map side, but that's something we can look into. But yeah, moving through this will keep it docked for the most part. I just picked a bad section example on that time.
Okay, no problem.
But Julie,
Uh,
I hope you saw something there that you can take advantage of.
all right, so we have two
Ooh,
left.
thumbs up,
Julie
nice.
just gave a thumbs up, so I think we're okay. I think we're
That's
doing good on the answers here.
that's
We
really
are
what my
almost.
goal is.
You know what my goal was is to hit the 12:50 deadline that we said we were going to hit in this top 10. I think we are doing a
Oh, we're right
fantastic
on.
job of staying right on time here. So this is perfect. Um, Alex Bear, let's keep it going.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Number 2, import from Word update. It's a good
Oh
one. It's
yes, the import from
got
Word
some
update
heat
was
on it.
huge
Ah,
this year. Not surprised that this one made the top 10 at all. All right. So for anybody who has imported their own content, I'm sure you know how much the import from Word has changed. One of the biggest features is I guess the entire, actually the whole menu has changed a little bit. So, but one of the biggest ones is how much of your current Word documents can get recognized now without too much work on your end. We used to have a whole system of, especially in the Word documents, we used to have a whole system of what we called coded fields and enhanced text, things like that. And I'll actually open up our import from Word specification section. So our converting to enhanced text. So we used to have for each of these options, choices, global terms, project notes, reference standards, units of measurement, we used to have these complex like symbols that you had to put next to each thing. Like if you're using a unit of measurement, you had to use that curly bracket and you had to have two of them at both sides and specific spacing on the inside. Reference standards weren't recognized at all before. Project notes, well, project notes is actually, that one was always pretty smooth. Um, but choice fields, you had to have double brackets and then you had to have your parentheses on the inside all spaced out in very particular ways. But now, and I've actually got a little demo Word doc here. Now, if I'm bringing in a section, there are so many people who are already working on their projects where they are putting different effectively choice fields that they just have to pick from in single brackets, just like this right here. And we decided, like if people are doing that already, let's just take out that legwork. Let's take out that time that they have to spend working in their own Word documents to bring it into SpecLink Cloud. And let's make sure that it starts recognizing these brackets. So these single bracket systems that people are already using, those will now get converted to choice fields as soon as you bring it in. We can see we have our asterisks. So if you have any notes, put some asterisks around those. Those will get brought in. And right here, you can actually see these are just some units of measurement with nothing extra put on them. They will still get recognized automatically now because as long as they're in like kind of the right formatting with some spaces in there, so pretty much the standard way most people are going to put it anyway, those are going to get recognized and brought directly in. And then I have it added somewhere down here so you can see we've got a couple of reference standards. And I do want to highlight, up in part 1, we don't have anything up here that mentions reference standards. But when I bring this document in, so now we can either drag and drop a file or click to open it up. And now just for the sake of finding it quickly, I'm going to come bring it over here. So I can double click from my file explorer, and as people who have imported before knows, so this is a section traffic control. I have been, or the import from Word has always been very, very smart and able to recognize the section ID and the section name directly from the document that you're bringing in. Hit OK. It'll say, hold on, we're importing the section. And all of those changes with the enhanced text and everything, especially the reference standards, are huge. And there it is. It opened it up. I didn't click a thing there, just so everybody knows. And I can open up this section. And from there, you can see the reference standard paragraph effectively got added. And both reference standards that I put into this effectively practice document were recognized, added to it, and if I open up our show hide columns, which is, by the way, another honorable mention of something that got added to the toolbar this year, and I look at links, links were already created to these reference standards automatically, just on the import. So
That's
scrolling
awesome.
down, we see our units of measurement, we see the choice fields all brought in, green and go. We have our notes, and then all the way down, our reference standards getting recognized here. So the
Yeah,
import from Word process so much smoother.
that's fantastic. Because that's one of the biggest hurdles, right? If somebody's going from a word processor into SpecLink, there's that emotional attachment to the old files, right? And what do we do with them? And now
Yeah.
SpecLink's making it easier to not have to throw those in the garbage, where you can
Yeah.
repurpose them and bring them over.
If they're
We've got
spec-linkifying themselves much smoother.
Alex, I got another question for you. Faith is wondering, how quick are the uh, what are my words, like, but the training videos that we put on the in the guide,
Mhm.
how quick do those get updated after a new process has been uh, put into SpecLink?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, Faith. So the articles get updated, try and get updated as quickly as possible. We try to make sure at least the text, images, things like that are up to date very quickly for you. The videos, as you know, it does take longer to edit videos and create new videos for processes. So those get updated and prioritized depending on the size of the update. Like for something like, well, the commenting features or other things that we're seeing even on this list, document maps, things like that. When they are really big updates and or things change dramatically, we see those videos get targeted and pushed a lot faster than we do for some of the things where it's more just visual changes. We're constantly working in that guide, constantly trying to get it as up to date as possible, but we are running a race behind the lightning fast team that is constantly pushing out new content. So we can continue to push on it and get those out as quick as possible, but unfortunately, I can't tell you a specific timeline.
We've got another quick question that came in from Amy, and Amy's wondering, is it possible to toggle off the auto recognition of UOMs or reference standards if you don't want those features to be linked or recognized?
Fantastic question, Amy, as well. And yes, you absolutely can. So if I come back over here just to show you it real quick, convert from enhanced text. If I don't want my units and measurements recognized, I can simply uncheck it. I can same thing with reference standards, and even I can even decide I don't want choice fields and just bring
Cool.
everything in with the brackets.
You guys are thinking about everything when you're putting out these updates.
Oh yeah, some of these updates this year have been huge. And I
Mhm.
bet since we're about to move to number 1, we're about to see one more really big thing as we wrap up this top 10 list.
Let's do
Yeah.
Alex Fulton, you do the drum roll. Drum roll's yours on the number one here. Poetry. Beautiful.
I need to wait for it to be up.
All
I don't have
right.
drumstick handy. Ooh, and
Number
I
one.
saw I think 3 different
Hey.
people guessed that in the questions of the commenting update is number 1.
Yes.
So for anybody who hasn't already taken advantage of this, you are missing out because the commenting feature is completely different than it was just even a year ago. So I'll open up just a section here just to quickly show you what we've got. So the commenting feature before, we've always had our ability to put our comments along this side, but those comments were always just tagged directly to it, and that was about it. But now we've got a few fun new things that you can do. I'm going to scroll down to where some active paragraphs. One, we have a new little button up here which is our comment thing. It'll show you how many active comments there are. And the moment I decide to make one, it's going to recognize it when I hit comment. So keep an eye on that when I press this. But as I open this up, you can see it already looks a little different. So I'm just going to say hi SpecTalk. Just keep it quick. So I've made my high spec talk comment, but we have a couple different tools that we can use. So this little gray box, I can click on this and I can set the priority level of this comment. Is this a critical comment? High level? Low priority? It's just high spec talk, so I'm going to put it low priority right now. But also, what is the phase this comment is in? The comment status. So you can say this is a draft comment. You can ignore it. I'm still working on this one before anyone looks at it. I can move it to open to let people know, yeah, this is an open comment. Somebody do something. But then once you start getting replies going back and forth, pending, in process, ready for review, and then you can even go from rejected and resolved from there. So I'll put it as pending just for fun, and I'll hit comment. And there's a little one that popped up. So I'm going to make one more comment as well, because the other big thing that we have with this is the ability, I'm going to call this a critical one, and now this is something I call internal collaboration. If I throw that @ symbol and I start typing, now this is a training account, so you're not going to see any names except for mine, but training user one, if I click on that, I can now tag them and they will get an email notification, which you have the ability to turn off, and an in SpecLink Cloud notification that goes directly to that bell. So when I hit that comment, that user just got tagged, they get that bell update, and they'll be able to realize that people are trying to talk to them, and they'll be able to go and address that directly from that little notification icon. Now, this button up here is I guess it's a really big filtering option that we have. So right up at the top, we see all of our comments that we have. We can filter it by the priority level. We can filter it by the status. So if we want to see the rejected and resolved ones, we have those options. If we only want to see the critical comments first, well, I deselected that, but we can deselect everything else and make sure it's only critical comments here. So now I can work on those first. I can type my reply, and if I want to see this actual sequence, clicking on the sequence number will take me down to that line. So there's so many new things you can do with these comments, and all of this does work in that comment mode we were seeing earlier when somebody else is locking you out of a section. You can dive in.
That's fantastic. And and I'm sure you guys know this already, but the one way that I've heard people using this as sort of a parallel approach is people are using it as their own personal checklist. So even if they're not asking somebody else for help, they're tagging themselves as something that they need to circle back to and um, make a decision on or complete a task.
Yeah, and now I
Absolutely.
just dragged because I was the one secretly logged in as training user one, locking me out of the section. But I just wanted to be able to show that little notification. Yep, Alex mentioned you in a comment, so I can mark it as
Right.
read, delete it, or I can click on that to actually jump directly to that comment in that project.
This has been so I want to know from anybody who's on here, did you learn anything? Did you realize you had access to all these amazing features? Um, I know we're getting a couple of comments here, and maybe Alex Fulton, if you could read the last two comments that have come through, maybe last couple there, referencing 2025 updates, and
Ooh.
maybe you could speak to that, or if you have any insight on that. I also have another question from David that I want to circle back to and get a quick answer from. And I will need likely Alex Fulton to answer this question. So when you're done scrutinizing those comments, I got another one for you here, Alex.
Oh, I can absolutely try and answer a couple of these. Oh, but there's so many flying in. I'm just want to make sure that I'm looking at the ones you were mentioning. Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of people that want to have a couple of things renamed in the list, which will absolutely be able to take a look at, make sure things are getting properly done if there's any
Mhm.
typos that you're finding. And I'm also seeing, and this is a big one from Marjorie, is that this is something that we can absolutely push along. And now I can see, Marjorie, you said you've been asking for this for 5 years, but she wants to have the reference standard paragraphs editable. And as of right now, those reference standard paragraphs, they are tied together. Now, if you do need to edit anything in the reference standards, which are there they are. If you do need to edit anything in here, you can open the document manager, go to the reference standards, and either create your own from there, or you can open up the info and see what's in here. Now, you're looking to have these be able to be edited by the users. You can make your own, and if you need to get it up to date in a certain way, you can still go and create a unique one, click the plus, make a new one, and effectively do the same thing. But if you've been asking for so long, I guarantee it's probably very similar to that printing a individual section outline view. There's probably something deep in that code that is stopping them from being able to let people do that. But I bet, especially after this, for a end of year comment or a 2025 wish list, they'll be looking at it.
I got to throw one more at you here. I'm just going to scroll back down. So David asked earlier, prior to the changes to the locked sections, I could unlock sections from the directory. Now I have to open a section to unlock it. Is there still a way to unlock from the file tree?
Yes, there is. So the way that you
Yes.
could unlock before is still there. So you can either do this unlock sections in use and click on that to kick everybody out from all the sections at once. Or, and now I'm wondering because I closed the window. Yeah, so it's not going to show the lock anymore because I already unlocked it from the other side. But if the lock is still here, you can still work on it directly from there. Now, it does matter depending on if you have the permissions to do so. So not everybody's allowed to kick people out of sections. But if you have the permissions to, then absolutely continue to use that unlock sections in use, continue to do it directly from the tree.
Excellent. We've got a couple of comments coming in too from new SpecLink users that are happy to see some of the features that we've highlighted here. So, guys, I just want to say we've got 3 minutes here, so we're just going to start to land this airplane. This has been this. They always go by quick, but this one like flew by. This is
I,
57 minutes of steady information and countdown list to end a year. How perfect is that?
I was feeling
Um,
that myself too.
yeah, it's good. I think today was they're all good episodes. They're all special in their own way. So as we're wrapping up, I want to thank everybody for attending today. I love how full the question section got today. I hope everybody got some information that they were looking for. I wasn't able to get to every single question today, but definitely send us emails or get in touch with support if you have specific questions about specific things. If you are not a SpecLink user and want to check it out and have a one-on-one demo with either Alex Bear or I, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is in the materials tab up across the top. If you are looking to upgrade your SpecLink subscription, need an extra seat or two, and want to capitalize on some end-of-year savings, you can reach out to Alex or I for that as well. And another thing that I want to put out there, and for everyone that's left, there's a lot of really, really smart people on this talk. So if anybody who's viewing today wants to be a future SpecLink or SpecTalk guest, if you've got a unique approach to using the software, or you work on some interesting projects, or just have some things that you think the spec writing community could benefit from, by all means, get in touch with us and let us know that you'd like to be a guest, and we'll take a look at that and see if we can work your expertise into a 2025 episode. So because today's the last one of the year as well, our next Spec Talk will be January 8th, where we are going to be bringing back Holly Jordan for another episode, as you can see on the screen there. It'll be good to have Holly back. We haven't seen her in a while, so we'll be sure to give her a good hard time when she gets back here because we love her so much. So from me personally, this Spec Talk has been such an amazing thing to be a part of. I joined RIB 6 months ago, and we hit the ground running with this. And I'm so proud of Alex and producer Morgan and Andrea and Kristen and everybody that's helped grow it to where it is. Alex Bear, it's a treat to be on these with you and moving through these with you. So I just want to thank everybody who joins us, who participates, who asks the questions, who signs up for these. I appreciate every single one of you and hope to see you on every other Spec Talk from this point forward. From me, from the Alexes, and from everybody at RIB, happy holidays. Enjoy your time off, get some rest, and we will hopefully see you all back January 8th with our next Spec Talk. Have an awesome holiday, everyone.